Welcome to our second video on compound time signatures. This one's going to be about triplet groupings and helping you get more familiar with them. We're going to be talking about different types of ways to group eighths together and sixteenths. So, let's start with eighths. So some things to note. These are technically in 3/8, but they're all just groups of 3. So, say you were to try to make something in 12/8. There's 4 groups of 3 in there, so you could have any 4 of these, and you could put that into a bar of 12/8. So let's talk about these. I'm going to be tapping the pulse on my left hand and the actual rhythm on my right hand. So I encourage you to clap through these with me as we're doing them. So we have just 3 eighth notes. So that's just going to be all the way through 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. So that would go if our pulse is 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. So now let's talk about this one. This one is, you could think of this as like stock swing feel. So dun da dum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum, like in jazz. And that one would go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's talk about this one. This one is just 2 eighths and an eighth rest. That one would go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That one you just you want to count out. It doesn't really feel like, I can't really equivalent to like the last one where I equivalent to swing. There's not really any rhythm that I know that just kind of clicks with people. So just kind of count that one out. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Make sure you're always subdividing. Let's talk about this fourth rhythm. This one is kind of like a waltz feel. Bum, 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 something like that. So that would go boom, bum, bum, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So then let's get to these kind of quarter bass rhythms and kind of this, more quarter bass rhythms basically. So this fifth one is literally just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Very basic. This one is a little more confusing. Again, you want to be subdividing. Like all of these you want to subdivide, but especially number 6, because this one is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Make sure you're always feeling that downbeat, because the awkward thing about this one is that there is no downbeat on this one, so you always want to feel, this is how it goes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Let's talk about this last eighth note rhythm, and note that these aren't all of the ways that you can write eighths, but these are the most common ones that I've seen, and these are the only ones that I've really had to rely on as I'm sight reading and using Sight Reading Factory, that sort of thing. So this one would go, so this one's kind of like a lead in, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Again, no downbeat, so you want to be able to feel that downbeat every time. So we'd have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So let's talk about different 16th note rhythms. So again, we're still in 3/8, different groups of 3, and now that we're saying 16th notes, the way we subdivide that is and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Be subdividing that in your head the entire time. And I'm going to take these a lot slower. Let me move this up, and I'm going to be tapping these like a drummer with both my hands, no pulse with my left hand. I'll be subdividing out loud though, as well. So all 16th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1. Now we have the second one. We have 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So we have got 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now we have this one, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So with both of these, you like on this first one, on number 2, you want to feel that downbeat and be subdividing that downbeat even though you don't actually clap it, or in my case tap it out. Same thing for this one, you want to subdivide out that third beat, but you don't want to tap that one out. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. For this one, if you're thinking back to the swing pulse, we have dun da dun da dun da dun da dun. This one could be felt in the same way, but you gotta say them as 16th notes. It's a little weird to conceptualize, but let me demonstrate it. Da-dun, da-da-da-dun, 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 da-da-dun. Let's take that a lot slower though. So this one might throw me off. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So that one's a little tricky. Take that one slow. And that's the key to all of these, is a lot of these I'm so used to thinking a lot faster because I started them really slow and I worked them up to the point where I'm like, when I see this rhythm, I'm like, I'm not thinking about subdividing it, but that's because I started really slow and worked my way up. So let's talk about this fifth one. Now we're feeling now there's no more rest, and we're feeling all the beats, able to tap them all out. So let's try this one. So this one's still thinking that 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3, and so you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1. Similar with number 6, we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1. This one might throw me off again, kind of like number 4, but now it's the same thing, but now we're able to clap or tap that inner beat. So I'm going to take this one a lot slower. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So yeah, let's talk about number 8. So we're only clapping the and of 3. So if we were to do this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1. So yeah, these next ones we kind of have what I like to call like lead-ins. Not as much with this one, but with this one I'm kind of feeling 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1. So let's tap that out. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1. So make sure you know how many beats like this dotted 8th note gets. It's got that 3, and then you got that lead in. Similar to for this one, we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now we're getting into what I like to call the drum corps rhythms, because you'll hear like I know if you know Blue Devils 2017 Metamorph, the trumpet feature, like they have the, or you could also think the 2014 trying to remember the name. Flinny-esque. How did I forget that? Yeah, Flinny-esque. You have the dun 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 and that trumpet feature at the very beginning. So I like to call these the drum corps rhythms. So I'm gonna take these slower because I'm so used to thinking them at a faster tempo that they kind of throw me off at a slower tempo, but you got to start slow. You got to start from somewhere. So let's try this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Somewhere for this one, 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1. For our last one, this one's probably my favorite triplet 16th note rhythm. We have 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1. So I hope that helped you. I'd study up on these, practice these slow, bring them up like I did, and have a great rest of your day.